We remain standing as we observe the national anthem of the Republic of Ghana.
Please be seated. We shall receive now for traditional prayers Numo Noi Ositan III, Osu Nadu Ulomo.
Ago chabega nyame. Agago. Ago. Nyamo fa yimbo ago awo. Agago. Ago. Ago chabega nyame. Mene ashisuwa. Nema suwa. Nama suwa. Wobolo ma wo. Boma wo. Boma wo, bobo mwanga shifong, obo jenkoji, obo kweka nai, obo shonke koyi, obo shake kai, obo wade senke wu, obo minsama tai, emini bine fenen woke ina akpa, weke na shine poke oka fandi ne chon, ni ojono ehawo, bianu wakazi ya shino fianan wabakeke odeni, eyo manye koshiba kopenya kenyawo, wambika unishi ya jo, ni mlako ni chumone, Dromo ni sa akia wo fe eh no manya fi wo fe wo no ogadu Osu klote nini okansha ka dia mo afa mo kunu no ga jomo jino ba jua o ai kwante bi sa fi o proposal fi pompo gbeyo ujine ko no bi se bisa yo ni yen san fle pompo yo ni ke fi jimbu e bi ana Debi no one jeng back na shwan chaboy. No ko ka jomo jun abajo awo. Obena so ma ko nu, ya je ma ko nu, dudu kwa ma ko nu, osutu ma ko nu, na do ma ko nu, ba ke ma ko nu. Ahunu ma sa kwa ma ko nu, kumi mi sai ma ko nu. Opu ma ko no nya ma ko no, opu ma ko na di kwa ma ko no, kula ma ko no, kuma ga ma ko nu. Osama ma ko no bentu ma ko nu. Yo ba me ko se bi fenye ko nya no. Obo shimpa ma ko nu. Adade mu eko nu chawe mu eko nu manu mu eko na duse mu eko nu ankle mu eko nu kweku ahintahin emu nko nuka jomo jino abaju awo gwa kakadolo owi ayaye metolo bitolo abiega biega po biaje gbado fu tete agbo kakako ara onye fenu ko nu a nika jomo jino abaju awo osu dade mu eko nu asman bli we mu eko nu kuma glonto mu eko nu asman bia mu eko nu sen kofi sen kwa me fenu ko nu a nika jomo jino abaju awo Ena kole aboyo, ofie, kusheku, pakubili, katamanson, bonso, emisan, aye, infojo, akloma, akotia, asibi. Bon yenio busunchi busumpura ifenyo konyo nwani ga jomo juno abajwao mincha dambi fe blue ni fenyo konyo nwani ga jomo juno abajwao ningo bi fa konyo ga jomo juno abajwao pram bi fa konyo ga jomo juno abajwao mincha ponga konga fie cha wotro mi afie ka fie komme usabume okume ifenyo konyo nwani ga jomo juno abajwao kama sakumo kama piti oko mincha ni fe blue kanya bi kanya hoi ifenyo konyo nwani ga jomo juno abajwao nwa prowo Bobu, Oshe, Akrama, Opobi, Ofun, Chawe, Osabu. Na mention you can pick on your way. You think you're going to get Jomo Juno Abadao. That's your Sabua, Ku, Clame, Dademe, Guame, a Fieka, Fioko. Mention you pay blue and you pick on your way. You think you're going to get Jomo Juno Abadao. La Pantona, Fiokuma, Game, mention you pay big, mention you pay blue way. You think you're going to get Jomo Juno Abadao. Now, Bosubo Minsa, now. Nai Shiche Odoma Kimbiki Amlalo Biamlalo Opiamugio Opetotro Amenfo Amenyawa Menya Opesakame Agbadukui Oyadu Kamflan Opobi na minchani kanipika nyawa klame na osia kwame boame fe blue kanipika nyawa efenu ko nwa nga jomo jino badwa o nte soko afie ko so ko bi efenu ko nwa nga jomo jino badwa o na chemu ko jomo jino badwa na gbegbo mo ko nu na di na chu na solo ba kambu so afi me o sie bi fe ego na ko bi te bo go yodo su na be ni jo sofo we mo ko jomo jino badwa o ablekuma me odun pon meje bi me na nsaki do blow bi ko si bi adi bi fa ko jomo jino badwa o aka nya machanye klubi abi nya machanye ankro cheka cha mko menchanye fem ncha ka jo buto apla ka jo buto ka gbe langa ka je langa ka gbe danshula ka gbe koyi ka je koyi ka gbe woji na blue ne ncho menchanye shwe menchanye ma menchanye okanjo menchanye oshebla menchanye shi ajo ni mle akoyi minu ocho ni beke na shine wonchanye yo manye ko shida ko penya na ake woche nji his excellency John Dramani Mahama lele eto egbejiano to ni wonyeme ni bekonehu alo oblema ni wochole wonyeme ni akameto papu eni akametomwe lele me komena omanye ko shibla amama je befo mami lele ana wo hwe ni wocho amaka diaspora lele eto amegbejiano to ni ka esebe ne ke be ana ba ko eni ameni ka mehwe na bi ke ni amefia bi fe ena kametomo lele wake wondaleshi echa womaja cheme echa manyeme echa media school echa school echa majin ko komeno bi fe ake neke ni na asaka aba yose lele mene muko fe muko ba bi ene muko fe muko ehye nuchumu e ba du mo hye bi e ba tabi ene saka yose won na nuchumu ko fa le oni echu agbeni woni eme le won be jo mo ame won bi sole mo ame won bi ni ka me fagbe na no fi wona mi ne mo mi e fe jo mo ame no fi anu ni e ka me tu no fe ba da mo ame ka me te wala ka me teshika ka me to penya ka me to shebla na ka no mi tu won manchame ke manyame ni yo bi e fe ke wonyede ka me te wala ka me teshika na wo ka de sakobe manso ameke shika wo shika wala pa bi o manso wa ja mi ke shika ai agbene won tu woche nji gadangbe fe wo fe woche niji ni odai fi owolenchi ke ese kwalo nji ne waka mi to me feke wonyede me wala me to mo kenile me ni bi ko pai ni fi on kama me twi no mi tafa ya ke me agbede wo wura mo ni obi ane lu me bulu ni ko me ni obi ane fe mi bi do mo am ko fe mo ko ajo na ya bu awo mi chumo na atume agashi bi e ko manye jo ka tomo ko ka papa tomo ko won be ko ga shi ajo onim na ko we fe nyodin tu we fi agbama to ma je tu na fi ofen wo no ago Go to and be there. In check a Shulagabela, Matalam Gagbo, Butu Gagbe, Koi Kagbe, with Feminchan blue way. In China, Funkuna, Bibiana, watch on Nagas, never myself, when you were fro by Joko Shuano, when you joke at home, the Jamami, when you joke at the Patu Bellamy, you joke at me Fonjami, or touch on the church on the Kodolway. If you buy the Guay or Bonico, you can't wear the more boy. That be when you couldn't have you no money because you are Papa now. If you finish, I had your friend. Now, if you are no, okay, she will finish your joy. Put him laughing. Don't want to say, if you can do so, I'm not going to
Numo Noi Osikan III is the Osu Naduklote Wulomo, the traditional priest of this area. Please help me appreciate him for securing for us the blessings of God Almighty.
Absolutely. Now, for some of our visitors from afar and from nearing countries in Africa, Wulome, way back in the day, were intercessors, spiritual intercessors between the ancestors and our land. So traditionally what it means is to give thanks to those who have departed and also to those who are here, and especially those who are decision makers, policy makers, and those who are yet to even come, generations to come. So we give them a big applause one more time for their benediction.
And so with the blessings of God Almighty delivered to us through the gods, the ancestors, and the deities, let me say a very good evening to you, AU champion and President of the Republic of Ghana, the convener of this great summit and this Durbar, Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama, our special guest, the Prime Minister of Barbados, Your Excellency Mia Amomotley, the Speaker, the Vice Speaker, I beg your pardon, of the Council of Nations, Upper Chamber of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, Your Excellency Azouz Nasri.
A big round of applause.
Ministers of State, heads of diplomatic missions, Your Majesties, Royal Highnesses, esteemed delegates, friends and well-wishers from home and abroad. We welcome you to this Grand Durbar. It's a traditional Durbar coinciding with Juneteenth, the first of its kind to be held outside America. And this comes as we commemorate 2 days of deliberations on the next steps to the landmark United Nations resolution on the trafficking of enslaved Africans. We meet here at the Christiansborg Castle, Accra, a place which once contributed to the gravest crime against humanity, the transatlantic slave trade. But we meet here in the spirit of togetherness, in the spirit of restoration, of repair and repentance, trusting that our time here will be a celebration for all our efforts in recognizing this grave crime against humanity and a greater resolve to never let it happen again.
Mesdames et messieurs, une fois de plus, bienvenue au château de Christiansborg ici à Osu, Accra, Ghana. Que ce moment soit reçu avec regret, reculement et responsabilité. Nous savons que vous êtes tous venus de loin et nous espérons que votre visite ici sera vraiment un moment de changement pour tous les gens qui sont ici et pour ceux qui vont venir.
C'est bon. And so tonight we've lined up a very beautiful program which will see us celebrate our ancestors and celebrate ourselves for how far we've come and the road that lies ahead of us. Let us begin this evening with a warm note of welcome, underscoring the traditional importance of these events by receiving Ghana's Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture. Make welcome the Honorable Abla Chifa Kumashi MP.
Hello, yes. Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, Prime Minister of Barbados, our very own big sister, mother and friend, Mia Motley, Speaker of Algeria, Mr. Nasri Azouz, Nananum, Nime, Name, very distinguished traditional leaders, honorable ministers of state, especially my dear younger brother, Honorable Okujetu Ablakwa, members of the diplomatic corps, representatives of the United Nations and the African Union, esteemed scholars, elders, cultural custodians, leaders and advocates of Pan-African culture and diaspora affairs, distinguished delegates and participants, the media, ladies and gentlemen around the world participating in this program via the internet. It is with profound honor and a deep sense of historical responsibility that I welcome you all to this Durbar of chiefs and people, held here in the historic Osu Castle, which stands as evidence of the historical trauma of trafficking of enslaved Africans. This gathering follows 3 days of expert meetings and high-level consultations held from the 17th of June to this morning. Mr. President, Lale Mulo, Lale Mulo, Nyedaka Machito Duma, Lale Malema, Lale Mulo, Lale Malema, Nyedaka Machito Duma, Lale Mulo, Lale Mulo, Lale Mulo, Nyedaka Machito Dume, Lale Malema, Lale Mulo, Lale Malema, Nyedaka Machito Dume, Lale Mulo. Your Excellency, only a couple of days ago, or weeks, I joined you in the United States, in the UK, and I stepped aside to go to Liverpool. I went to Liverpool because they have some relics from Ghana. These were not taken as loot from slavery, but they were borrowed from the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board. Your Excellency, you have just witnessed how we left. When I went to Liverpool, I experienced where they went. And I assure you, looking at those ornaments that were exhibited in those museums brought home to me what our people went through once they arrived. I was properly dressed when I went to Liverpool, but you saw how they left here. That's how they arrived in the cold countries that hosted them when they left here. I was shivering, even though I was properly clothed. The winds nearly took away my umbrella because they were so strong. Those were the harsh realities of our forebears. But Mr. President, I want to thank you for the opportunity given us to serve under you and to help make this a reality. As we adore the outcome document of these consultations with the good people of Ghana, Africa, and the world, of course, our brothers and sisters in the diaspora and individual organizations across the globe, permit me to acknowledge, Your Excellency, your own leadership, Ghana's advocacy for reparatory justice and addressing the legacies of enslavement, your commitment to truth, reconciliation, and justice for people of African descent who suffered from this heinous crime has positioned Ghana as a moral compass in this international movement. Your efforts, Your Excellency, have further elevated Africa's voice at the United Nations and beyond, and this gathering is further evidence of your international leadership. Thank you, sir, for making us proud. Distinguished guests, today, the 19th of June, or Juneteenth, commemorates the final emancipation of enslaved Africans in the United States. It is a chance for us to collectively reflect on our painful story and history, and also affirm the unity, resilience, and renewed purpose that have defined this conference. Juneteenth is not only an American story, it is a global story, an African story, and a Ghanaian story. It reminds us that the struggle for freedom, dignity, and justice is universal and unending. In this castle that was once used to service the machinery of enslavement, we gather today to declare that freedom is unfinished without repairing the trauma and lasting injustice. Your Excellency, Nananom, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as ECOWAS acting chairperson for reparation, I am deeply aware that the work before us is both regional and global. Over the past 3 days, our discussions have reaffirmed West Africa's unique historical responsibility and ECOWAS commitment to advancing a coherent, principled, and actionable reparative justice agenda. This Durbar brings together our traditional authorities, the custodians of memory and identity, the technical experts whose deliberations give flesh, spirit, and cultural context to the work before us. Guided by our ancestors, those of us blessed to be in this army must be prepared to defend this cause with everything in us. As we adore the conference outcome document, let us be guided by 3 principles. Truth. Truth to confront our shared history with honesty and courage. Justice, to pursue reparative frameworks that restore dignity and promote healing. And reconnection, to strengthen the bonds between Africa and its diaspora as partners in development, culture, and global solidarity. Distinguished guests, Ghana has shown leadership, while our cultural institutions, creative sector, and heritage sites, such as this very castle, remain central to shaping a future where remembrance inspires renewal and enables us to take charge of our narrative. This must be a narrative that honors the past, gives further substance to declaration of the trafficking of enslaved Africans as one of humanity's gravest crimes, and ensures that that evil is never repeated. It must not be a fragmented narrative written to suit the comfort of others. As the saying goes, until the lion rides, the story will always glorify the hunter. So radical truth-telling and leadership in authoring and narrating our stories should be a priority going forward. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to our chiefs and traditional ladies and leaders, we thank you for your presence and blessings. To our international partners, we appreciate your steadfast commitment. And to all participants, your contributions over the 3 days have laid a strong foundation for the framework transformative work ahead. On this note, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as you leave, I urge you to continue listening to the sound and for the sound of the talking drums, the shakers, the castanets, the bells, the flutes. These sacred instruments will carry the message from your brother, friend, uncle, colleague, and my president, H.E. John Dramani Mahama. He will call you again, because this is not an event. This is a journey going forward to restore hope to the African continent. So, I welcome you warmly to the closing Durbar of this remarkable conference. Continue to enjoy our jollof rice, our wache, our gobe, our drinks, our dances, our music, and as you leave, let it bring you back to this continent and to our country, Ghana. We will welcome you once again with the proverbial Ghanaian hospitality. May our unity endure, our purpose be strengthened, and our resolve be deepened. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abla Jifagomashi, Minister for Tourism and Cultural and Creative Arts. Thank you very much for your insightful speech. I can see that even my voice is being overshadowed and literally muted by the rains, as we say, showers of blessings. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to also acknowledge in our midst this afternoon, all the way from the Republic of Congo, His Excellency Constant Serge Boanda. May we please give him a big round of applause for attending this ceremony. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Francophonie and Congolese abroad of the Republic of Congo. Merci d'être ici avec nous cet après-midi. Merci, monsieur.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to hear from the custodians of the land. Representing the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs is the President, who is also the Ndungwa Manche. Would you please make welcome for his remarks, Obuade Noche, King Professor Odaifio Wolenchi III.
Mesdames et messieurs, nous procédons maintenant à la présentation publique du document. Écoutons le présent une voix traditionnelle émancée dans cette terre et dans la mémoire vivante.
The Vice President of the National House of Chiefs, the Bupigura Jinapo II, will deliver the address.
I don't know whether I should address my son, a prince, or his excellency. You know, the president is a prince. You can ride up to Yabonra. But because it's an event organized by the government, I have to address him as Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellencies, Head of States and Governors, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Samuel Akujuto Ablakwa. I know it will rain because the conference or the Durbar is a good army from the God. Representation from the United Nations, representatives of the African Union, CARICOM, and SILAC. Your Royal Magistrates and revered traditional rulers, Your Royal Highness, my cherished Queen Mothers, members of the Diplomatic Corps, representatives of the African Diaspora, our friends from the media outlets, both local and international, here present. Ladies and gentlemen, I think all protocols duly observed. I bring you warm greetings on behalf of the National House of Chiefs and on my own behalf as the Vice President of the House. I am deeply honored and highly delighted to address this important gathering of profound historical significance. Permit me first and foremost to commend the government of Ghana under the leadership of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for gracing this important conference and Durbar of Chiefs to advance the global dialogue on historical justice, reconciliation, and repatriation. We have convened here not only as representatives of nations and institutions, but also as custodians of the shared human story. As citizens, we are united by a common responsibility to remember the past and confirm and confront its consequences to shape a future founded on justice, dignity, and humanity. The platform of the UN General Assembly resolution marks a significant milestone in the global quest to address the dark chapters in the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans, including women and children, were forcefully removed from their homes and lost touch with their families, denied their fundamental human freedom, and were instead subjected to inhuman treatment in the hands of their slave masters. The combined effects of the slave trade, coupled with the physical harm and abuse of the Africans, resonated with world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly of Heads of States and Governments to vote and approve His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama's motion for recognition of the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity and demand for the payment of repatriation for victims of African descent. Mr. Chairman, despite the inhuman treatment meted out to African nationals, the era of the slave trade represents a period of extraordinary resilience for Africans that transformed adversity into achievement. As traditional leaders, this compensation underscores particular significance for the institution of chieftaincy in Ghana. Traditional authorities are the custodians of land, history, and the preserves of our cultural heritage, and stewards who have continued to shape our unique identity and our understanding of the past. Ladies and gentlemen, our call to service is not to perpetuate division, but to foster unity and understanding, not to reopen old wounds, but to promote healing and reconciliation. However, the pursuit of justice is not a pursuit for vengeance. Instead, it is an affirmation of human dignity and recognition for the manifestation of genuine and true reconciliation built on truth and mutual respect. Reparatory justice deserves thoughtful and constructive engagement. Reparatory justice is also more about compensation. It is about restoring dignity in addressing enduring inequalities, opportunities, equitable development, strengthening educational opportunities, and fostering partnership to empower future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, the presence of representation from the EU, the diplomatic community, and the African diaspora demonstrates a growing recognition that the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade is a shared global concern which requires collective action. The adoption of the United Nations General Assembly resolution made a significant milestone in the global quest for address one of the darkest chapters in human history, the transatlantic slave trade. For centuries, millions of African men, women, and children were forcefully removed from their homes, separated from their families, deprived of their freedom, and subjected into unimaginable suffering. And entire communities were disrupted, societies were weakened, and generations were denied the opportunity to realize that full potentials. The transatlantic slave trade was not only an African tragedy,
it was a tragedy for humanity. Its effects continue to reverberate across continents, shaping social, economic, and political realities to this day. Yet, despite the immense suffering inflicted upon them, African people demonstrated extraordinary resilience. Their descendants preserved their heritage in rich cultures across the world and transformed adversity into achievement. Their story is one of survival, perseverance, and the enduring triumph of human spirit. As traditional leaders, this conversation holds a particular significance to us. Traditional authorities are custodians of history, guardians of culture, and stewards of the collective memory of our people. Through our traditions, oral histories, secret sites, and cultural institutions, we have preserved stories that continue to shape our identity and understanding of the past. Our responsibility is not only to preserve memory, but also to ensure that future generations learn from it. We must tell the truth about history, not to perpetuate division, but to foster understanding, not to reopen old wounds, but to promote healing and reconciliation. The pursuit of justice is not a pursuit of vengeance. It is an affirmation of human dignity. It is recognition that genuine reconciliation can only be built upon truth, acknowledgement, and mutual respect. This is why the global conversation on repatriatory justice deserves thoughtful and constructive engagement. Repatriatory justice is more than compensation. It is about restoring dignity, addressing enduring inequalities, promoting equitable development, strengthening educational opportunities, preserve cultural heritage, and fostering partnerships that empower future generations. Distinguished delegates, the presence of representatives from the African Union, CARICOM and CELAC, the United Nations, the diplomatic community, and the African diaspora demonstrates a growing recognition that the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade is a shared global concern requiring collective action. Descendants of Africa have maintained an enduring connection to the continent of their ancestry. Their contributions have enriched nations around the world while strengthening the bonds that unite Africa and its global family. Ghana remains proud of its leadership in fostering these connections through initiatives that promote cultural reconnection, investment, tourism, and people-to-people engagement. Our nation has sought to transform remembrance into meaningful partnership and shared progress. Ladies and gentlemen, today's commemorative observance of Juneteenth carries profound historical and symbolic significance. This commemoration should inspire us to strengthen the bonds between Africa and its global diaspora, deepen our commitment to historical truth, and advance meaningful dialogue on justice, healing, and reparatory action. Distinguished guests, as we deliberate over the next 2 days, let us remain guided by wisdom, dialogue, and a shared commitment to action. Let us strengthen educational exchanges and historical research. Let us deepen cultural cooperation between Africa and its diaspora. Let us expand economic partnerships that promote shared prosperity. Let us support initiatives that deserve historical memory and promote truth-telling. And above all, let us ensure that future generations inherit a world that reflects the values of justice, equality, and human dignity. History has entrusted us with solemn responsibility. Future generations will judge us not only by how faithfully we remember the past, but by how courageously we acted to create a better future. May our deliberations be fruitful. May our partnership grow stronger. Before I end my speech, I would like to thank everybody who have made time to attend this important conference. I pray that Almighty Allah and our sisters will lead you back home with safe journey and safe flight. Thank you for your kind attention. God bless our homeland.
And may God bless you, the Bupewura Jinapo II, who happens to be the Vice President of the National House of Chiefs.
Merci encore, monsieur.
And now, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, here to outdoor the outcome of the document of the conference, make welcome Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, MP.
Mesdames et messieurs, nous procédons maintenant à la présentation publique du document final de la conférence, un engagement commun envers la mémoire, la justice et l'action. Mesdames et messieurs, le ministre de l'État étranger, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa.
Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, African Union Champion for Reparatory Justice, Your Excellency Mia Amo Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, I acknowledge the distinguished Speaker, the Right Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Algeria, Ministers of State, leaders of delegations, heads of regional organizations, brothers and sisters. I am delighted to announce that the Next Steps Conference did not end inconclusively. It is not every conference, as you know, that participants are able to agree and reach a convergence on what the outcomes should be. The 2026 Accra Next Steps Conference had an emphatic conclusion, and all participants have affirmed to work together on what has been put together as the Next Steps Accra commitment. I'm also particularly pleased to inform our heads of state that the commitments are contained in a 10-page document, 46 paragraphs, and the contents are far-reaching. We have all resolved that the landmark UN resolution, Resolution A/RAS/A0/250, will not just be a cosmetic resolution, and that we are all committing to actionable and measurable steps to deliver on the objectives of the resolution. And those objectives will reflect in our national development plans, our educational curriculum. It will also reflect in the UN Secretary General's report to the 82nd session that should be next year's United Nations General Assembly. Governments are also committing to establish museums, to preserve monuments, so that we will ensure that denialism, minimalism, erasure, all of those negative tendencies we have seen, those tendencies are defeated by our collective commitment. But perhaps what should excite all of us is the other achievements that we have documented in these next steps. At this conference, we received great news from the Dutch government that they have catalogued 2,000 artifacts that they have decided to return to the motherland. And they carried out a symbolic presentation last night to President John Dramani Mahama. So this outcome document has attachments. The first attachment is a catalogue of 2,000 artifacts from the Dutch government. The second attachment is a declaration by the government of Germany to also return artifacts that they have identified and are willing to return to the motherland. So that is our second attachment to this outcome document. Then we have also heard from the Foreign Minister of Denmark. And you know where we are, the Osu Castle was built by the Danes. The Foreign Minister of Denmark announced during this conference that the Danish government has decided to work with all of us in our coalition, the government of Ghana, to preserve this castle and all the castles that they built during that dark period, to help to memorialize, to ensure that there is truth-telling and to guarantee non-repetition. We have also heard from French President Emmanuel Macron, who has also announced that France will work with our coalition to establish a scientific commission so that where our artifacts are located, who is keeping them, who is hiding them, we can find all of them and return them to the motherland. And also work together to ensure that reparatory justice in all of its forms is secured in our lifetime. So I am happy to note that the Accra Next Steps Conference has not been a mere talk shop. It has delivered beyond expectation. There are concrete outcomes that we have all seen and witnessed. And I want to, on behalf of President John Dramani Mahama, congratulate all of you for making sure that we have achieved these successes. But as I conclude, what is even so inspiring is the agreement that we have all committed to, that for the first time we are going to end fragmentation. We are no longer going to have a separate African agenda on reparatory justice. We will not have a separate CARICOM agenda on reparatory justice. We won't have a second North American agenda on reparatory justice. We are all agreeing in this outcome document that we shall have one common blueprint that we are all committing to. And you know, when we unite, no force can bring us down. We saw that at the United Nations. And our resolve is clear that with this high sense of confidence, without any doubt at all in our strong belief that we will succeed, we clearly will attain reparatory justice in our lifetime. So on your behalf, I'm going to present this outcome document, which I have here beautifully designed, to the President of Ghana and the African Union Champion for Reparatory Justice. So, Your Excellency, I will respectfully and humbly invite you to come for your documents. The assignment you gave us, we have delivered. We did not fail you. Thank you, Mr. President, for your inspiration.
And ladies and gentlemen, please help me appreciate Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs for a job well done in curating these 2 days of high-level conversations and this missionary zeal that has seen through every step of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa.
Mesdames et messieurs, une fois de plus, le ministre des Affaires étrangères, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, une fois de plus. Merci, mesdames et messieurs.
And many thanks to the President of our Republic for believing in him and the entire team. And now, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it has fallen to the son of our very own Marcus Mosiah Garvey to address us with his remarks. Please make welcome a renowned surgeon and Pan-Africanist, Dr. Julius Garvey.
Mesdames et messieurs, la mémoire panafricaine porte une vision de dignité, d'unité et de libération. Veuillez accueillir chaleureusement Dr. Julius Garvey sur le stage. Merci, mesdames et messieurs.
Thank you so much. President John Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados, other heads of state and dignitaries, excellencies, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here today. I'm a little bit surprised at being asked to say a few words, but I think I can speak with confidence that today is a continuation of the work that my father started more than 100 years ago.
A big round of applause.
As the major Pan-Africanist of the early 20th century, he has influenced many others. His organization, just with a newspaper, was able to lead more than 6 million people along the path of Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. His philosophy and his ideology influenced, of course, your own first president, Kwame Nkrumah. So I'm indeed happy to be here to see that your current president is walking in the footsteps of Kwame Nkrumah, who walks in the footsteps of my father. I represent, in some sense, civil society organizations in the United States of America. As you know, we're not represented by a government. But the governments of the Caribbean have done wonders, and I would certainly, your relationships between CARICOM and the AU and different African countries is exemplary. And I'd like to congratulate Prime Minister Mottley for inaugurating a flight between Lagos and Barbados. This links us with the continent, and I'm looking for her next to inaugurate the Black Star Line, shipping me. She's a very dynamic person and is one of my idols. When I grow up, I would like to be like Prime Minister Mottley. You know, Africa is the richest country in the world. Unfortunately, it suffers from the fact of the colonial legacy of 55 individual countries. For the African Continental Free Trade Agreement to work, we have to move towards a federated government, or at least a government really that can create one single economic, monetary and financial space, as well as a borderless country, so that goods and services can run, wires can run for electricity across the country, the continent, as well as, of course, roads and railways, because we have to have one single continent for us to be able to move forward. I think we need to emulate what China has done in the last 40 years, but of course, China didn't have the handicaps of colonialism that we had. And we have to liberate our minds from mental slavery, as my father said. So we have to create our path forward. And our path forward really links the continent with the diaspora. You have 1.5 billion people here on the continent. We have about 500 million in the diaspora. Together, of course, we will be unstoppable, as the Prime Minister, as the President said. We are definitely unstoppable. And with the resources on the continent, and of course, you also have the youth demographic. I think 60% of the population in Africa is under 25. And I think it's being calculated that by the end of this century, 1 in 3 people on the planet will be African. So the future really belongs to us. But we have to plan it, we have to work for it, and we have to unite around the principles that we've been talking about for the last 2 days. But it's very, very important for the diaspora to be part of African development, because, you know, we've lived in the belly of the beast. We have a lot of experiences. We have a lot of resources, intellectual, technological, etc. And it's important, therefore, for us. I look forward especially to Ghana, because Ghana really has been, shall we say, the door of return, or at least the door through which many of us connect to the continent. And therefore, and of course, it's also the headquarters of AFTA. So I think Ghana has a significant responsibility to reach out to the institutions in the diaspora to systematize the relationships so that we have a clear path forward to come back to invest, to visit as tourists, and to participate institutionally in the development of the continent. Because us in the 6th region, we want it to be a true 6th region, united with the other 5 regions. And we look forward to Ghana being the door through which we can get to ECOWAS and therefore the other 5 regions of the continent. So it's indeed a pleasure for me to be here, and I look forward to working together with everyone here in the future to make the future certainly a more prosperous one for all of us. But we have to create also a new world order, multipolar order, that puts humans first. And of course, that's an African paradigm of humanism, as opposed to the Western paradigm of materialism and technology. So the future belongs to us, and with our ideas, with our youth, and our commitment to humanity in general. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
And the great Marcus Mosiah Garvey looks down from up above with glee and admiration at you, Dr. Julius Garvey, for continuing in his footsteps. Please put your hands together in celebration of a life of legacy.
Mesdames et messieurs, une fois de plus, les mots d'encouragement et d'espoir, le Dr. Julius Garvey, qui nous a donné des mots d'encouragement. Merci une fois de plus. Can we please give him another round of applause, please?
In a short while, we join our brothers and sisters in New Jersey as they mark the Juneteenth reparations convening. We'll be hearing from Dorothy Brown, our sister, the author of Getting to Reparations. Before that, however, let us hear from the very Reverend Al Sharpton, founder and president of the National Action Network. Please lend your attention to the screen.
L'appel à la justice réparatrice traverse les anciens, les communautés et la génération. Mesdames et messieurs, s'il vous plaît, regardez l'écran pour un message de Reverend Al Sharpton.
To the Honorable President John Dramani Mahama, Honorable Foreign Minister Samuel Blacqua, to distinguished guests, friends from Africa and the African diaspora, ladies and gentlemen, greetings to all of you. I am so honored to join you on this historic occasion and deeply grateful to the government and people of Ghana for convening this important gathering. I sincerely regret that I cannot be with you in person, but I am privileged to participate in this Juneteenth commemoration and to join you in reflecting on both the history we inherit and the future we must build together. There is a profound symbolism in the fact that this observation is taking place in Osu Castle. For generations, places like Osu Castle stood at the center of one of our history's greatest tragedies, the trafficking of enslaved Africans and the system of racialized chattel enslavement that shaped the lives of millions and transformed the course of world history. Today, however, we gather not merely to remember suffering, but to affirm human dignity, honor the resilience of our ancestors, and renew our commitment to justice. That commitment is especially meaningful on Juneteenth. The lesson extends far beyond the United States. It speaks to the challenge before the international community. And that challenge is there today. The adoption of United Nations Resolution ARES 8250, Resolution ARES 8250, was a historic achievement no matter what anyone says. For the first time, the international community formally recognized the trafficking of enslaved Africans and racialized chattel enslavement as among the greatest and gravest crimes against humanity, and acknowledged their enduring consequences. But recognition is only the beginning. The question before us now is whether we will transform recognition into responsibility and responsibility into action. That is why this conference matters. That is why the work of the Global Advisory Panel on Reparatory Justice matters. And that is why the continued engagement of governments, civil society organizations, faith communities, scholars, cultural leaders, and citizens around the world matters. Nearly 60 years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. asked the question that still challenges us today. Where do we go from here, he said. I believe the answer begins with a commitment to dignity, liberty, and community. Dignity reminds us that every human being possesses inherent worth. And liberty reminds us that freedom must be more than a promise. It must become a lived reality. Community reminds us that our futures are connected and that justice ultimately requires us to work together. As we gather in Ghana at this historic place and on this historic day, let us honor the memory of those who endured slavery by strengthening our commitment to the work that remains. Let us commit ourselves to truth. Let us commit ourselves to understanding. Let us commit ourselves to participation. And let us commit ourselves also to repair. Future generations will judge this moment not simply by what we said, but by what we built. They will judge it by whether we strengthened the institutions, relationships, and civic capacities necessary to advance justice and preserve freedom. Let us therefore move forward with courage. Let us move forward with honesty. Let us move forward with humility. Where do we go from here? We go together. May God bless the Republic of Ghana. May God bless our president. And may God bless the United States of America and those that fight to repair. May God bless.
We're fighting for, but the work is not done. It is responsibility. The recent United Nations Declaration recognizing the transatlantic slave trade and chattel slavery as crimes against humanity is historic, and we must have the courage to name it plainly. If slavery was the crime, then repair must be part of the justice. Recognition must become repair, memory must become policy, and history must become action. I am proud to stand here representing the Congressional Black Caucus of the United States Congress. Mr. President, just like Prime Minister Motley, you have a friend in the Congressional Black Caucus. The CBC, founded in 1971 by 13 black members of Congress who understood something fundamental. Black people needed power organized in government, not just protests in the streets, to defend our interests and shape policy. And in many ways, that story is connected to Ghana, because Ghana was the first African nation to break the chains of colonialism in modern Africa under Kwame Nkrumah. And just as Nkrumah taught the world that black sovereignty was possible, the CBC was born to prove black political power in America was necessary. Different geographies, same struggle. Because the struggle for black freedom has always been bigger than any one nation. It knows no bounds. It is not confined by oceans. There is no land border too great to contain the human longing for dignity and self-determination and justice. That is the story of free people around the world. And it is a story that connects Ghana to Black America, the Caribbean to Latin America, Africa to Europe. Different journeys, shared destiny. That same spirit is what connects this conversation on reparatory justice. And let me be clear, reparatory justice is not charity. It is not about asking favors. It is not about accountability, just accountability. It is about repair. It is about recognition that wealth was extracted, land was stolen, nations were destabilized, and generations were denied the full inheritance of their humanity. And if we are honest, we know the afterlife of that step is still with us. In America, it shows up in wealth gaps, health disparities, voter suppression, educational inequity, and systemic exclusion. Across the globe, it shows up in underdevelopment, debt burdens, stolen artifacts, and fractured economic systems. Different manifestations, same unfinished business. And so the work before us now is simple to name, even if it is hard to do. Tie the rail and hammer the nail. Do the work of building the structures that make justice real. Not just statements, not just summits, not just symbolism. Structures, policies, partnerships, frameworks, because silence is not neutrality and neither is delay. The question now is not whether the world recognizes the harm. The question is whether we have the courage and discipline to build something worthy of repair. Because one hand cannot tie a bundle and no one nation can carry this work alone. That is why the next chapter must be structured global black cooperation between Africa, the Caribbean, Europe, Latin America, and Black America. Because justice, like freedom, knows no bounds. This work will require all of us, governments, legislatures, civil society, faith community, scholars, and movements working in concert, each tying the rail and hammering the nail, government to government, legislature to legislature, institution to institution, civil society to civil society, movement to movement, people to people. And the Congressional Black Caucus stands ready to be a part of that architecture, not as observers, but as partners. Because as a Black American standing in Ghana this evening on Juneteenth, I know that my own story did not begin where I was born. It began here too. And maybe that is the deeper truth of this moment. That which was broken across the Atlantic can also be rebuilt across the Atlantic, but only together. Because the future is looking back at us, praying that we will see far beyond our own time, that we will have the courage to do more than remember, that we will build, that we will repair, that we will leave behind institutions strong enough to carry justice forward long after we are gone. History has brought us here. Responsibility keeps us here. And if we do this right, justice will carry us forward.
Mesdames et messieurs, Monsieur Vance Evans, Executive Director Congressional Black Caucus, ces mots d'encouragement, ensemble on agit, on avance ensemble avec force.
Through her service, she makes us know that small is not the same as being silent. Make welcome the Prime Minister of Barbados, Her Excellency Mia Motley.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez accueillir chaleureusement le ministre primaire Mia Motley.
President Mahama, my brother, distinguished Speaker from the Parliament of Algeria, distinguished ministers from across Ghana, the Caribbean, and the wider forum, my distinguished elder, Julius Garvey, distinguished people all. This day today carries both joy and warning. Freedom proclaimed must always be freedom delivered. I want to say to you that I'm 60 years old. I've been to the Cape Coast Castle, but nothing prepared me for this afternoon. I do not in any way understate the poignancy and the emotion that was stirred in my spirit from the reenactment here at this castle. The truth is that it is one thing to speak of it. It is one thing to read it. But the manner in which the students of the Ghana Performing Arts School reenacted both the arrival, the detention, and then the passage through the door of no return will remain singular in my memory for what we experienced. It is almost impossible for me to congratulate them, because the devastation of what they reenacted does not sit well with any form of congratulatory language. But we recognize that when they told us that a picture speaks 1,000 words, there is nothing like being a witness to the bald reality of the oppression that we saw. My friends, today we also heard from other persons, and we know clearly that our story did not start in the Caribbean. Just as you heard just now from Mr. Evans, his didn't start in the United States of America. We know this deeply because in our own colonial legislature, as I've indicated to you, we became the place where the first legislation was passed that proclaimed that black persons were no longer human, that they were subhuman. It was the 1661 Slave Code, a law that gave help to a legal machinery that would literally cement in the minds of millions of people for centuries the degradation of African people. That truth, my friends, is heavy. And we carry it because it is critical for us to make repair unavoidable. It is critical that we don't forget the heaviness. And I ask us tonight, what does it mean to celebrate freedom when others among us are still suffering? When we continue to face development deficits that so could be changed if we had a different understanding and if we did not globally stand on a colonial and imperial framework that denies us the opportunity of being treated equally. What does it mean to sing the songs of liberation when our people continue across Africa not to have access to electricity, and when countries across the world with similar economic circumstances are graded differently for their access to international capital markets? What does it profit us to sing songs of liberation while those artifacts and those things that tell our story remain outside of our control? My friends, I say that history has gathered us here, but it is faith that has kept us here. And it will be faith that will propel us to duty, and it will be duty that will send us forward collectively as one people. Memory for us must become organization, and grief for us must become strategy. Pride must become power, and reparatory justice is a duty owed to people whose labor enriched others while their own development was denied. Our actions demand law, economics, education, culture, diplomacy and development moving together. But as I said yesterday, it must not be the province of just those of us in government or those of us in academia or those of us in some civil society groups. We must place our people at the center of this conversation. And our people must understand that we seek not to create wounds that will be divisive, but we seek, in the mission that so many others have done before us, to seek healing and reconciliation. Much of the Western world admires Nelson Mandela. They hail him as one of the greatest human beings to have lived in the 20th century. They speak of his resilience. We ask them to speak of his example of truth and reconciliation as well. For if they so do, then it means that these conversations, which the King of England, when he was Prince Charles in Rwanda, indicated to us, that this was a conversation whose time had come. But you wonder why, when he said those words, it was not published across the Western world. We now have Pope Leo, we now have President Macron, we have other actions that have developed through this conference with the return of artifacts. But that in and of itself does not carry us there. The resolution which we pass at the UN and here today give us a door, but it is unity that will give us the strength to walk through that door. I pray here in Accra that we not be divided by language, by geography, by passport, by party or by generation. The children of Africa, whether in Bridgetown or Kingston or Accra or Kingstown or Port of Spain or Lagos or Dakar, the children, whether in New York or Bahia, carry a story that is connected. And it is a story that deserves being told to build a future that must be enshrined in dignity. We come to Accra to insist on justice with discipline. We know that development is repair. We know that opportunity is repair. We know that truth is repair. And to the young people of Africa and the Caribbean and the Americas who say, what does this have to do with me? I say to you, everything. For the debt of history is paid in the currency of your future. When water systems fail in our country, when, as I said, people cannot access electricity, when culture is stolen, when climate is denied, when finance becomes more expensive and more difficult to access. This is your inheritance that we are negotiating today. At Ghana's independence, we heard that destiny, your freedom, was tied to the freedom of all everywhere. Today, we say that we not only hear those words in the past, but we live them in our future. We have a new charge as daughters and sons of Africa, as daughters and sons of the African diaspora. And our charge is to move from remembrance to repair, and then from repair to shared power across this world, in the interest not of greed, but in the interest of building a just and humane world led by leaders who have a global, moral, strategic vision. History will ask of us, did we come to Accra to meet and speak and hug? Or did we come to Accra to build the machinery of justice for those who came after us? Let, my friends, the answer remain in the document that we have just seen Minister Ablakwa pass to President Mahama. Let it remain in the CARICOM 10-point plan, which I shared with you yesterday. Let it also be said by our ancestors that they recognize us by our resolve. And let our children inherit proof that we were equal to this hour. I say to you as I leave you, one people, one purpose, one aim, one destiny. God bless our mission.
Her Excellency Mia Motley.
Mesdames et Messieurs le Premier ministre de Barbados, Mia Amor Motley.
I think we've been sitting for some time. Can we be up?
Yes.
Please, respectfully, as many as can, let's be up.
It is a day of celebration.
And let's sing one song that ties us all together. I believe that will be the soundtrack to Her Excellency Mia Motley's speech. Yes. Can we do it together? Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. Together. Old pirates, yes, they robbed I, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit, but my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help me sing? Put your hands together. Oh, this song of freedom. Let's go. It's all I ever had. Let's go. Redemption song.
Come on.
Redemption song.
One more time.
Redemption song. The last verse. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the poll. So, won't you help me sing?
Come on.
The songs of freedom. It's all I ever had.
One more time.
Redemption song.
One more.
It's all I ever had. We sing.
Song.
Put your hands together. But I'm so sorry I invited you all to sing. You are the worst singers I've ever come across.
Did I pass your test?
And now put your hands together as we receive the gift of the occasion, the President of our Republic, as he delivers the final remark for this evening. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Mesdames et messieurs, c'est un honneur d'inviter Son Excellence John Dramani Mahama, le Président de la République du Ghana.
Thank you. Please, can you be seated? Thank you very much, my sister Anne Motley. Thank you. I acknowledge the Vice Chairman of the National House of Chiefs, our traditional rulers, the Speaker, Vice Speaker of the Algerian Parliament, Dr. Julius Gave. Thank you for that very moving address. And let me thank everybody who has stayed with us. I've attended many international conferences. By the second day, the steam is lost. And you see so many empty chairs. And people have made a beeline to the airports and left. This is different. It shows the value of what we have discussed over the last 3 days. I want to thank the technical team and all those who did the pre-work before we arrived here. I want to thank all those who took part in all the plenaries, the panels, the opening ceremony, which was interminably long, but the hall remained full even during the opening ceremony when we closed at almost 3 p.m. And to thank all those who worked again this morning to finish the outcome document. It's been an honor to receive that outcome document, and it is my hope that the framework that we have established would actually achieve the next steps that we have been looking for. Our voices were fragmented for decades, and it served the interests of some groups to keep those voices fragmented. And so narratives were spun in the Caribbean. Why are you making, a union with Africa from where you were taking? You deserve reparations more than any other person. Same in America, same in Latin America. The slave trade affected all of us emotionally and painfully. We watched that in enactment. The enactment shows the various stages that the slaves went through. The raiders who went to the communities and took people's sons and daughters. In this reenactment, you saw the actresses and the actors who were crying for their daughters, Ayanda, and the several other names they were mentioning. In pain, these were their loved ones that they would never see again. That fracture of families. In many communities, the raiders took all the virile men and women away and left just the old and weak. How they survived with the most productive part of the population gone, how they survived is part of the pain of slavery. And then to talk about those who were taken away and marched, in some cases, 700 kilometers from the slave markets in the north. The torture they felt along the way, the shipping they endured if they faltered or fell. And we saw the arrival at the castle in its true state, reenacted, like Anne Motley said, by a very good performance of our School of Performing Arts. And I believe that that's an ace performance that we must take outside to all parts of the diaspora. And already I've discussed with the Prime Minister, when they unveiled the monument to slavery, we are bringing our School of Performing Arts to reenact that performance in Barbados. The suffering they endured in the dungeons while they waited for months for the slave ships to arrive. And then the walk down the door of no return onto the beach. And the guide told us that for some of them, they were very bewildered, because some of them came from the interior of Africa and had never seen an ocean before. So just seeing that vast expanse of water with the waves, you know, crashing was a horrible experience for them. And you saw the little canoes they were loaded on to board the slave ships that were anchored about 200 meters away. And the most torturous one was the journey across the Middle Passage. Very little food, chained, shackled into ships. Ships were lost at sea with the whole cargo of slaves. In some cases, there were rebellions, and some slaves jumped overboard. Death was preferable to what they were going through. And then arriving in what they called the new lands, and seeing themselves in a completely different environment, not knowing what was awaiting them. And then suddenly, the change of your identity, your indigenous name was lost, and you were given Toby, instead of Kofi, Toby, Cassius, and then to the plantations to provide labor that was free. And it leads us to what we're celebrating and commemorating today. That's Juneteenth. We recognize those who fought for the abolition of slavery. But even after the abolition, just when we walked through the castle, there was another tunnel, a door, that led several hundred meters outside the castle. And even when it had been enforced that slaves were no longer going to go through that castle, the dungeons had been cleared, slaves were kept in different places, smuggled through the tunnel, still brought onto the beach and loaded onto ships. But Juneteenth is about our comrades in the United States, who 2 years after the Emancipation Act had been signed, that said that all slaves were free, only heard about their freedom 2 years after. And so even though the Emancipation Act had been signed, they remained slaves for another 2 years until information was brought to them that they were free men and women. And that is why they celebrate Juneteenth. And I'm happy that for the first time, we're beginning to speak with one voice. And this is just one such example of speaking with one voice, that us and our brothers and sisters in the United States, even as they celebrate Juneteenth, are celebrating it with them here. The origin of whatever took place, we are celebrating them too, for their resilience, for their survival, for their strength, for their faith. And so we'll work together with one voice, as we did, to move this resolution in the General Assembly, because in unity lies strength. And all of us were seared by the brutality of that slave trade. After the UN General Assembly, several of our partners asked me, say, so after that, what next? And I said, well, just wait. We did this together. We must decide the next steps together. And that's why Ghana took it upon itself to call for this Next Steps conference. And I want to thank all those who worked since yesterday till today to come with the outcome document. So let this outcome document be the platform for how we forge ahead together in unity, so that together we can achieve the justice that was denied our forebears, not only in terms of restitution and reparation, but also in the fight of creating a more just world. Like Anne Motley said, the iniquities of the slave trade still remain, and the demographic that slavery affected is still the poorest part of this world, because the world is rigged against the descendants of slaves and the victims of slavery. And so our work goes beyond reparations, it goes beyond return of artifacts, it goes into advocacy for creating a more equal world, to a world that offers opportunity to everyone, and to a world that is fair and just. I believe that the memory of our ancestors who bore the evil of the slave trade will continue to guide us, like the libation that our traditional leaders prayed. And culture even endures, because as they were pouring the alcohol on the ground, the Prime Minister of Barbados told me, you see how culture transcends generations. He says in Barbados, when we're going to have a drink of alcohol, we also pour a little on the ground, and we pour it to our ancestors to ask them to continue to stand behind us. And so I'm not going to inflict a speech on you this evening. I just thank all of you for the great work that you have done, and pray that God takes you safely back home, and that Ghana is your home, and you are all free to visit Ghana whenever you want. We have passed an act that allows people of African descent to seek abode in Ghana. If you want to come home, back to the motherland, Ghana is one of the countries that has a law that allows you to come and stay in Ghana. And for all Africans, we have introduced a visa-free regime, and so you don't have to pay for a visa to come to Ghana. And I know the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is working to make the same for the CARICOM countries, and already we have visa waivers with most of the CARICOM countries for Ghana, and so they don't need visas to come here. And so let me just thank everybody, and to say that on this note, the outcome document is accepted, is adopted. We're going to work together to make sure that we're able to achieve the objectives that are in that document. Thank you very much, and God richly bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's the President of our Republic and the AU champion for reparations for Africans and people of African descent. Put your hands together one more time.
Mesdames et messieurs, une fois de plus, le président de la République du Ghana, Son Excellence John Dramani Mahama.
When the great Nelson Mandela said, it always seems difficult until it's done, he was referring to you, Your Excellency. Thank you for your courage in summoning all these nations to adopt this resolution. Please, a round of applause once again.
And for the bold step that you've taken on for all of us, for those who have come and those are yet to come. Thank you, Your Excellency.
And now to the moment we've all been waiting for, the moment of celebration. Mr. Drummer, soft palogo feel, hey, anybody feel slow feel, hey. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. There are certain sounds you hear in Ghana along the west coast. Ladies and gentlemen, we call it the West African Orchestra. I'm going to induct you all into it. Are we ready? So to this row, you're going to put your hands together. Back, back, let's go. And you're going to say, ah, let's go. Let's go. For the last time. This row, you're going to say, hey, let's go. Let's go. Again. Ah. Hey. Oh. Let's go. No. Manchame. To the back, you say, yeah. The orchestra together. Oh. And now, ladies and gentlemen, prepared in heart and in mind, let us receive High Life, the richest music brewed right here at the center of the earth. I give to you Amanzaba.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Amanzaba.
Mamu chuku chaka chuku chaka. Mami chuku chaka chuku chaka. Mamu chuku chaka chuku chaka. Mami chuku chaka chuku chaka. Mami chuku chaka chuku chaka chuku. Mami chuku chaka chuku chaka chuku. Thank you, Your Excellency. In particular, Your Excellencies, all the distinguished guests here. I am not supposed to be giving a speech as just a song that I have to do, maybe a couple of them. But I've been waiting for this period, this moment, this time. I am just a messenger, and he is a visionary. So I echo his voice from the ancestors to the master of the universe. And once we speak about slavery, it affects every one of us here. So without much ado, I will sing, and then let us all have fun. Thank you very much. This is about the oneness of this continent, and in particular, Durbar. Ha, 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 ha. Woo! One day, we're gonna be one day. One year, my friend, no many more. Momentum on your brother, no may you see much. Anything much wrong. Wait. Me desire now, let me ask to me a Jew, baby. Oh, no one of them. Young Papa Samukum Yango, that's not coming in. I am Manga. Young Budget, young you don't be and come up, rap. No man, you see much. Everything much wrong. We are a runner. We are no me, okay. Yes, we are no me, okay. We are a runner. Yes, we are no me, okay. We are no me, yes, we are
Biakuya, no dona ya. Biakuya, no dona ya. Biakuya, no dona ya. Now I gotta be, why I don't say my American. I want you to say I don't know many. No make you one on your cover. No make you see my it's the master. Oh, dear, I'm brown. Oh, my God. Oh, dear, I'm brown. Thank you. This is what we call high life, and this is Ghana's high life. UNESCO has adopted it, so we have no excuse to just put it under the carpet. We have to bring it up. High life is so sweet. Now, this is our journey all the way from Israel to where we are now. And you have to know that the African is the foundation of life, and all over the world, that is what has happened. There are black traces and footprints everywhere. Ameke minye matu, ameke onye ngotu, ameke wanye ngotmo. Ameke minye matu, ameke onye ngotu, ameke wanye ngotmo. Ameke wanye ngotmo buyi na chacha ikechimo wogbe wa maja. Ega kenje sani mobo. Ega kenje sani mobo. Ega kenje sani mobo. Ega kenje sani mobo. Ojuju oju ni moja. Ega kenje sani mobo. 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 Them say me no fit jump. Them say you no fit jump. Them say we no fit jump. Them say me no fit jump. Them say you no fit jump. Them say we no go fit jump. I'm there watching what's more. We that I catch you more work by. What a shock. What a gay, what a shock. What a gay, what a shock. What a gay, what a shock. Cada inchinaino, onime konanda wajasho. Dosto timboku, kana mali, sumakulina wajasho. Wajajake, ijake, wajasho. Dosto timboku, kana mali, sumakulina wajasho. Mantenga kiri nontumba, no wabejeke, wabesho. Otetuina, pamantai, yakantai no wajasho. Eya isa kamari juja Ethiopia, wajasho. Ababa kasumo yela pokela sa, wajasho yela. I'm a coming yang, oh yang, one yang. Don't serve you no bit, you no bit, we no go bit. I'm a girl, one yang, what's more we?
Hello, hello.
I got to go on my work, one yang.
Put your hands together and let's celebrate a genius. Amanziba, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
we lower the tempo by receiving another phenomenal gift. Chief Moment and the Mansa World Ensemble. They are here to do a special act inspired by the President's speech at the United Nations. Please receive them warmly with a round of applause.
This resolution allows us as a global community to collectively bear witness to the plight of about more than 12.5 million men, women, and children whose homes, communities, names, families, hopes, dreams, futures, and lives were stolen from them over the course of 400 years. I speak these words today not only for Ghana, but also in solidarity with the rest of Africa, the Caribbean, Latin America, and the wider diaspora, and indeed all people of good conscience throughout the world. This resolution is a pathway to healing and reparative justice. This resolution is a safeguard against forgetting.
I bring you greetings to the leader of the land, to our guests across the pond, to our traditional leaders. I have been sent by the chief messenger of the land to present 3 symbols that demonstrate all that we have done from New York here to Accra. The first is the symbol of water and alcohol. In our naming ceremonies in our part of our world, the elder presiding over such a ceremony will dip his finger in water, touch the tongue of the baby, and then dip his finger in alcohol and touch the tongue of the baby. In doing so, he will say, when it is water, say it is water. When it is alcohol, say it is alcohol. This is how we begin to ground ourselves in the value of truth. In New York, His Excellency the President dipped his hands in water and touched the lips of all our world leaders. He dipped his hands in alcohol and touched the lips of all our world leaders and told them, if it is water, say if it is water. If it is alcohol, say it is alcohol. 123 nations affirm the truth of the slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. To our second symbol, we have now come to Accra to build solidarity. In our part of the world, when you have an important guest, you offer them kola nuts as a way of welcoming them. And when you sit together as elders, you break kola nuts to show unity and solidarity. And so we present the kola nuts to our chief messenger, who will also present it to the father of the land and his sister across the pond, that together they will break kola nuts in the symbolism of unity. And so, the Excellency the President, you may teach your sister how to break kola nuts. Yes. The kola has been broken by our guests. We have affirmed our unity. Okay, and they have taken a bite. Thank you. And the last symbol, we shall go all the way to Barbados, to Queen's Park, where there is a baobab tree that has been standing for 1,000 years. It is said that the seeds of this tree would have floated from West Africa all the way to the Caribbean, where the baobab is not indigenous. Maybe the people of Barbados say it was the ancestors sending a seed of hope, because it understood that trials will come, but after the trial will be triumph. And so today, here in Accra, we also plant a baobab of reparatory justice. And I present to our mother, the chief storyteller, as a symbol of planting that baobab tree, that 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, 2,000 years from now, Africans on the continent and across the diaspora would look back at what you all did today and say, we thank you. And so we spoke the truth in New York. We built our solidarity in Accra, and we have planted the baobab of life to take us into the future. Today, we stand up for our dignity. And we will end by going all the way to our brothers in the United States to end with a song in honor of one of the adherents of resilience. Stand up.
I've been walking till my face turns to the sea. Weight on my shoulder, a bullet in my gut. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up. Take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to enter? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it. Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm ready to muddy water. You know I gotta make up mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. I'll fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you get freedom calling me to enter. Keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone, and I just might fail, but Lord knows I tried. Short stars fill out the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up.
And the Bamboo Orchestra, ladies and gentlemen, they're yours for the applause. Thank you, the Mansa World Ensemble. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we give thanks to God for how far He's brought His Excellency the President and his team on this resounding victory. We now receive a minister who will bless us in song. I give to you, Nasi. Right after Nasi, we'll hear from the legend Rocky Dawuni. And then it will be a party till Mommy calls us home. While we wait for Nasi, ladies and gentlemen, I have good news for you. We take a trip to New Jersey to see Juneteenth. Please lend your attention to the screens.
Ready to present over here? All right. Oh, right.
How are you? I think with our group, one of the most urgent things they wanted to address was reinstating DEI and also reinstating affirmative action. And I also think another big major problem in our community is healthcare. More doctors are interested in treating symptoms instead of getting to the root of the problem. I'm a person that's very into natural, healthcare and things of that nature. But a lot of doctors, you can't blame them because that's basically how they're taught in school. But a lot of them don't really address our issues when it's coming to healthcare. You have to kind of be like your own advocate for that. And I think that's a major, major problem, healthcare. Yeah, Oh, sorry, yeah. And also we talked about another major issue with accountability into the education. Did anybody else want to say something? I tried to cover. Anybody else?
And I think one of the things we lifted up was the investment in green micro businesses. When we talk about the disinvestment in our communities, bringing back those green micro businesses to hire local people within our community can stabilize our business corridors and increase the job opportunities for those who are most impacted and marginalized.
So let's bring the video down. In the next 30 minutes, they will wrap up with proceedings, and we'll join them for the celebration. But for now, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a gift that keeps on giving, Nasi.
Good evening, Your Excellencies. Opportunity, goodness and mercy, they are following. Saba, Kiri, Aba. Baba, Aya, Botue. Baba, Botue. Opportunity, goodness and mercy. Everybody, I've been weary. I've been weary. I've been weary. I've been weary. Oh, yeah, many buses, oh, right. Yeah, many buses, oh, right. I've been waiting. I've been waiting. Yeah, many buses, oh, I've been waiting. Whoop, I've been waiting. Oh, I've been waiting. Yamini Baba, Boseno. Oh, Yamini Boseno. Oh, I. Yamini Boseno. I've been waiting. My encounter. My encounter. Onato, Watada, Osepoa, Odido, Enato, Yadada, Osepoa, Yedido, Mede. Okay, Rivitiano, I am in a small walking in the alley. Amen. Awesome, Odido, Onato, Watada, Osepoa, Chelsea, I've been weary. I've been weary. I've been weary. I've been weary. Yamini Baba Sendo. Yamini Basendo. Oh, I. Yamini Basendo. Oh, I. I've been weary. What's it no? 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 Come on! I don't know if you are tired, but we just warming up, you know. I'm happy to see my father today. Daddy, good evening. Come on. Listen, that's what I was doing. Where you went from? I'm a new common. Tell me where you went from. What? Yes, you'll be there, mommy. Yes, I'm in a mommy. Yes, I'm coming to go. Yes, Pata. Missy, also, I was doing. Where you went from? I'm a new common. me where you went from what? Yes, go video. You told me now. You can't come up with it. Papa, oh yeah. So when I see that. You bring my woman. Come on, show. Oh, where you went from? Tell me where you went from. Yes, so big, you're coming, they can't come up with the soul. Yeah. And so, wedding couldn't over Satan power. And I had couldn't everybody, I was overcome. Yes, wedding couldn't over Satan power. And I had couldn't I was overcome. Everybody, are you ready? What me do is not hold down. Ain't for you know it goes hold down. Yes, you know it, I know. Everybody, ain't for you know it goes hold down. What me do is not hold down. Hold down, hold down, hold down. Listen, Mahama, everybody, hold down. So you know it all down. Listen, hey, yes, wedding couldn't name. Over Satan power. My wedding couldn't name. He's overcome. I'm a sister. Woman to us down. All down. Woman to us down. All down. Woman to us down. All down. I'm a Hosanna, it's the wedding kunim, wedding kunim, this wedding kunim, this wedding kunim. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Nasi. And ladies and gentlemen, beloved in the Lord, this is where we take an offering. But what's a celebration of freedom without the legend, Rocky Dawuni? Please make him welcome with a round of applause.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez accueillir l'autre même, l'autre plus puissant, Rocky Dawuni.
A night when we intertwine our destinies. Africa and its children. Our brothers and sisters left us, but they didn't leave us. They thrived, and now the circle is about to be completed. Reparations is just the beginning of the conversation. But true liberation will come when all of us unite in harmony as one people with one destiny and one goal. So, if you believe in this, let me hear you say, yeah, yeah. If you believe me, let me hear you say, whoa. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be in this space. It's an honor to be on this stage, on this hallowed of days. I want to use this opportunity to also acknowledge Prime Minister Mia Mottley in the House. Thank you for inviting me to Barbados last year to play at the Carry Fest. It was really an incredible opportunity to bring our music and also connect our people. But tonight, it's about one thing. It's about this celebration. Let me hear you say, yeah, yeah. Now let me see your hands, everybody. Let me see you push your hands into the air. Now I want you all in the back, everybody stand up. Let me see you all stand up. Let me see your hands in the air. I wanna go high up into the air. I wanna take you to the domination. I wanna go high up into the air. I wanna take you to the germination. Can't you see? Can't we talk about diversion? We dance to heal, we dance to free in this nation. Whoa, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hewers of food, no drawers of water. Music plays on and on and on and on and on. Leave your burdens, leave your sorrows outside the door. Hope is all you got to keep. So I'm gonna to talk, so we talk to soul. Right on the reader, we're jamming with the music. Jamming with the reader. So I'm gonna to hit you, so we hit you, so we ride on the rainbow. Jamming with the reader.
So I wanna go up into the air. I wanna take you to determination. So I wanna go. I wanna take you to the county nation. Can't you see? Can't we talk about Persia? We dance to heal, we dance to free. I'll plant my corn in the planting season, so I can harvest when there's a harvest time. Long road have we struggled, long road have we come. So they don't want to start their top war, they start their top. So I'm not going to talk this show, we talk this show. Right on the music, jamming with the music, jamming with the music. I'm not going to right on the radio. We'll be jamming. Let me see your hands in the air. Everybody ready? So I wanna go up into the air. I wanna take you to the jamming. I say, don't you wanna go high into the air? I wanna take you to the jamming. I say, don't you really wanna go high into the air? Let us see your hands, everybody. I wanna take you to the jamming. I say, let me see you go high. Go high. I wanna take you to the jamming nation. Can you see that we talk about better? We dance to heal, we dance to free. Rhythm! Rhythm! Now let me see everybody, let me see your hands in the air. It's Juneteenth, so you have to lift it. Much respect, Mr. President. We're here celebrating a vision that has inspiration for generations. So if you hear another say, yeah! 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 Whoa! 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 Can you see about versions? Yeah. We'll be riding high. Oh my God, join us now, my friend.
is the heart of Ghana. This is my new song. It's called Dadianoma. Dadianome, Dadianome. So jame hwa mesi deina ma de. So jame hwa mesi deina ma de. Dadianoma, Dadianome, Dadianome. So jame hwa mesi deina ma de. So jame hwa mesi deina ma de. Dadianoma. Chinchini, and me go see Obi Manso. Nikona go baby, baby. Obi Nishel and Namajani baby, Janka. Obi Siasatra, and Musadia, ya. And the baby Nasama on the become of you. Let me hear you, you can sing it, let me hear you. Dadianome, Dadianome. So jame hwa mesi deina ma de. So jame hwa mesi deina ma de. Dadianoma. Cry about this dream, men and baby basta. Oh, yes, my one, dead and I won't come. Oh, brother, cool, that's the father. Oh, BCA, I'm sure you have make up when to go. I'm fine on my head. Let me see your hands, let me see your hands. Let me hear you say, yeah, 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 yeah. This next song is called Beautiful People.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Rocky Dawuni.
Yes, man, yes, man, yes, man.
Rocky will be back for the after party, but right about now.
Rocky will be back for the after party, but right about now, it's time for us to have some new school music. Shortly after we hear the closing remarks, and then I have a big surprise for you. Put your hands together for K-I-D-I. Kiddy!
Ladies and gentlemen, award-winning Ghanaian Afrobeat highlight singer, Kiddy!
Kiddy. See me, I don't get that feeling. But I got so much love to give you. I got so much love to give you. Oh na 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 na. I'm blessed today I found you. Oh, hey, oh Lord have mercy. Now me see your don't see me when you show. Oh do ya 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 mama ya wa do. Hey. my way. Some free, some bad, but I swear I guess I never did. I bless the day I found you. Oh. Hey, oh Lord of mercy. Hey, let me see y'all done. I see the parts in the back. Ladies and gentlemen, help me sing this song. 1, 2, 3. Sing it for me now. Hold on.
I want to pay respect to your excellency and everybody in the building.
It is good you're paying.
Even the mic agrees with all of you that you want to party, you want to dance, you don't want speeches. So I'm not going to bore you, but let the significance of what is happening today at the Osu Castle not be lost on all of us. This castle was built in 1661. It was the source of pain and anguish, excruciating agony of our people. But today we come here triumphant. We come here to celebrate 365 years after. And we are so grateful to the Almighty that miraculously we survived. And under the visionary leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we shall win the battle for reparatory justice. We want to thank all of you, the President's special guest in particular, Her Excellency Mia Amomotley, for honoring us with her presence and with her deeply inspiring speech. We thank all our traditional leaders, our revered chiefs, who continue to guide us and offer us wisdom. And we are so grateful to the Speaker of the Algerian Parliament, my colleague ministers, all of you, for making this Accra Next Steps Conference a success. But there is a surprise before I hand over the mic. You know the son of Marcus Garvey is here. And for the young ones who do not know, Marcus Garvey is the one who inspired all of us with the Black Star philosophy. His Black Star philosophy is what the Osagifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah adopted. And that is why we have the Black Star in our flag. And that is why our senior national team is called the Black Stars. Osagifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah christened the national team the Black Stars. So the last act for tonight is to invite His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to present a surprise Black Star jersey to the son of Marcus Garvey, Dr. Julius Garvey. And it will officially make him a supporter and ambassador of the Black Stars. So, Mr. President, that is your last act. Okay. Please bring the other one. Please bring the other one. Thank you. Mr. President will present the final 2 Black Star jerseys to Prime Minister Mia Motley and the Algerian Speaker of Parliament. Yes, Prime Minister. So, Mr. President, I don't want to miss this photo. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for the Speaker. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. The Algerian Speaker says he doesn't want to be impeached when he goes back. But But tell the Algerians you are hoping that we will both be in the finals. As for Prime Minister Miyamotle, full supporter of the Black Stars. Yeah, we are playing for both Ghana and Barbados. Thank you very much, Mr. President. God bless you all. Akpanami. Yes, can the Jamaican Minister for Culture come forward, please? Babsi, where are you? Did she step out? Yeah, please come forward. Mr. President, the Jamaicans came with a special present. If we can do that now. So that once we hand over the mic to Kidi,
on peut recevoir la représentation de la Jamaïque.
Parti à faire.
Merci beaucoup. Applaudissez, s'il vous plaît.
So you can talk about what the
big
president
round of applause.
I'm just waiting for my team to... I wasn't sure we'd be on the program. But Mr. President, thank you so much for leading the way. I'm so happy that reparation, you have now taken the mantle and you have brought us all together. I'm so happy to be here from Jamaica, from CARICOM. Prime Minister Motley, isn't this a wonderful feeling and experience for us? I was so moved today. But we have a presentation for you, Mr. President. Your armed forces came to Jamaica and assisted us after Hurricane Melissa, the most devastating experience that we have ever had from a disaster. And there are two of them. Second one is coming. And your team assisted us in building 2 huts at the Seville Heritage Park. Now, the Seville Heritage Park is where our 4 cultures meet. The Taínos, who were the first inhabitants of Jamaica, the Spanish, the British, and our African brothers and sisters who were brought as enslaved people to Jamaica. So at that location, all 4 cultures meet. And so there was an African village there in the early days. And your team assisted us in reestablishing the African village by building 2 huts and creating an African garden. And I thought we would bring photographs of one of the huts and some of the artifacts that was left with us. I want to acknowledge Major Shem and Colonel Aisha, who led the team. And so it's my pleasure to present to you today, Mr. President, these 2 images. Thank you. These 2 images, and for you to hang them wherever you choose. But we want to thank you so much.
Hold it with your left hand.
Thank you. From the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport of Jamaica to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, with gratitude from Jamaica to Ghana.